Okay, hi everyone. We're going to carry on from our last video on directives. There's a whole lot more to cover, so let's get started. We're going straight into with NGClass. Now what NGClass will allow us to do is have dynamic classes added to a element depending on conditions. So here, all we're saying is add this class button primary if this is true. If this is false, then remove button primary as a class. Very simply, I have two checkboxes here. Checkbox 1, checkbox 2. This checked value, true or false, is being bound to this make primary variable. Same thing here, make success variable. And in our ng class, see, we pass it a dictionary, we pass it the class, and what variable determines if it is present or not present in this buttons class. So if we come here to the browser, we can check it in action. If we set this checkbox to true, what we've done is set make primary to true, and since make primary is true here, it's going to take button primary and add it to our button. If we bring up the console here, now if we untick it and tick it, look over here, button primary is being added and removed as we click this button. If we click the next button, make success, it's the same thing. Now here's another very cool directive. Also with the ng class, it's a bit of an extension. We have the odd and the even. So when used in NGRepeat, if it's an odd or an even index, it will apply whatever class is supplied. So here we simply have an NGRepeat of this list 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is a button as a child. We simply put 1, 2, 3, 4 in, and this button will receive a class from this ng class. Then this will evaluate and it'll be success. If it's even, it'll be danger. Over here we can see it in action. I is odd, so we get success, even, odd, even. So here's an important directive, the ng Cloak. In a tiny little web page like this, you won't see this effect, but on a very large web page, you can have your variables looking like this until Angular is fetched and rendered and comes in and replaces these. So in order to get around that, we have NGCloak that will prevent this kind of flicker going from an expression into a variable or nothing. And what NGCloak is it's actually in the CSS. You have your CSS right at the top, the Angular CSS right at the top of your page, and it sets the display to none. So this is hidden, and when in AngularJS is compiled, it'll come in and reverse it and do whatever it needs to do here. Next is NGController, which we've already seen over here, and that specifies what is the controller for that shell of HTML. Now here's another one we've also seen again, NGClick. You'll use this everywhere, and it interacts with the scope of your controller. So what I mean by that is we can't just really put any JavaScript we want in here. If we throw in an alert, it won't work, and we get nothing. So don't mix this up with onClick. They're different. And then we have ng double click, same thing except click it twice in order to trigger it. And now let's talk about the ng mouse directive. Here we can have a whole bunch of triggers. So I just have a span that will set this mouse move variable to some text, and here we are binding our text. Let's see it in action. When we enter, let's just get rid of mouse move. Enter, click down, click up, mouse leave, and then mouse move will be triggered as you move your mouse over it. Okay, and moving on from mouse to key, we got down, up, and press directives. So I just have an input here. It says please click me and type. On the ng key down, we're going to take our variable count and increment it. On our key up, we're not going to do anything, but on any key press, we are going to make a key event variable and set it equal to this event, this key press event. Here in this p tag, we are simply showing our count variable, and here in this p tag, our key event we are displaying here, which will show the key code, what number was the key we pressed, and was it a alt key. Let's see it in action. As I type here, it's going to increment here. Doesn't matter what I press. and any key I press, it'll show me the key code if it was an alt key. Now here's a very cool one. NGSubmit will interrupt and grab a form submission and execute your own function when that form has been clicked to submit. And next we have NGFocus, NGblur, and this will again execute some expression when the input has either gained focus or the input has lost focus. So here we are simply setting I am variable to blurred, I am focused, and showing it here. Let's see. I am focused, I am blurred, focus blurred. So here's a really cool one, ng copy, cut and paste, and it will execute some expression when you copy, cut or paste on this element. And let's see it in action. So let's copy, cut and paste. Very cool. Now here's another super important one. NGInit will allow you to initialize some data. So here we have foo variable and we're initializing it to ABC. This wasn't here initially, it would be null, reload, you initialize foo as nothing. So let's add code with Kevin, and here you initialize foo as code with Kevin. Here's a very cool one. NGList will turn a comma separated string into a list. So let's see it in action over here. We're going to type A, B, C, D, and it is converting our string separated commas into a list. Very cool. We've already seen this one before. NGHide or NGShow will either hide or show that element based on a condition. Let's see it in action. Very cool. So we had just covered NGClass, and that will dynamically set your classes based on conditions, while NGStyle is a very similar thing, except it will dynamically set your CSS based on conditions. So here we are setting NGStyle to my style. So whatever my style is, granted it is valid CSS, it will be placed as an inline style on this element. Let's see it in action. Make me red, blue, purple. And you can see it is changing the inline style of this div. Very cool. Okay, so now here's a very cool directive, NGSwitch. It will allow you to have a switch statement literally in your HTML. This is super handy for like swapping out views. If you have a nav bar and you click on different views, you can NGSwitch your whole view. Lots of use cases, very good directive. Here we can see two buttons. It's very, very simple, just two buttons. And on the click, it just sets this variable you clicked to red or to blue. Now here's our switch statement. It is based on this expression, this variable. NGSwitch when this variable matches this case, which is red, then this element has been marked for show. And this element, when this expression or this variable is blue, then this will show. Let's see it in action. Click red, you click blue. Very cool. And that is it for this tutorial, guys. Believe it or not, but there's still a ton of directives we still haven't covered with models and forms and other really advanced in-depth stuff. We're going to stop here today. I hope this wasn't too boring. I hope it was entertaining to watch. I don't know, drop comments, let me know how bad I am at this. And I'll see you in the next AngularJS tutorial. This is our way to elite developers.